The crack of a child's jaw echoed through the quiet morning air, a sound that froze my heart. My 8-year-old grandson, Ethan, crumpled to the ground, blood seeping from his mouth. The woman who'd just struck him, a furious HOA president, stood over him, oblivious to the fact that I, a federal judge, had witnessed every second of her rage. She thought she was untouchable, ruling our neighborhood like a tyrant. She was about to learn how wrong she was. It was a crisp October morning in Willow Creek, a tidy suburban enclave just outside Raleigh, North Carolina. The school bus was running late, as it often did on Tuesdays, leaving parents milling about the bus stop on Cedar Lane. Kids darted around, their laughter mingling with the rustle of fallen leaves. I sat on a wooden bench, legal briefs spread across my lap, stealing moments to prepare for a high-profile case set to start the following week. At 62, after 3 decades on the federal bench, I'd mastered the art of multitasking. The bus stop was my sanctuary, a place to work, while keeping an eye on Ethan, my grandson, who was staying with my wife, Clara, and me for 2 weeks while his parents vacationed in Italy. Ethan was a whirlwind of energy, with a mop of sandy hair and a grin that could light up a room. He loved baseball, Pokemon cards, and making friends wherever he went. "Grandpa, check this out," he called, bounding over with a smooth pebble he'd found near the curb. His backpack swung wildly, and his sneakers were already scuffed from exploring the grassy patch by the bus stop. "That's a keeper, Ethan," I said, setting my papers aside. "Maybe we'll add it to Grandma's rock garden." His eyes sparkled. "Will it turn into a boulder someday?" I chuckled. "Not quite, but it'll always remind you of today." Ethan joined the other kids in a spontaneous game of chase, his laughter ringing out as he wove through the group. He had a gift for fitting in, instantly becoming the heart of any crowd. I smiled, watching him, then returned to my notes. The other parents chatted nearby, their voices a soft hum against the autumn breeze. It was the kind of morning that felt ordinary, safe until it wasn't. Enter Patricia Coleman, the iron-fisted president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. At 60, Patricia was a legend in all the wrong ways. She'd turned our community's HOA into her personal fiefdom, wielding fines and rules like weapons. Neighbors whispered about her relentless inspections: grass too long by an inch, a mailbox slightly faded, a kid's bike left on a driveway. She'd once fined a family for planting tulips that weren't approved colors. Clara and I had avoided her wrath. Our home was pristine, our lawn flawless. But that morning, Patricia wasn't there to nitpick landscaping. She was a storm ready to break. "Ethan Miller," her voice sliced through the air, sharp and venomous. I looked up to see her storming toward the kids, her tailored blazer and perfectly coiled bun at odds with the fury twisting her face. The children had been playing near a towering maple tree that shaded the bus stop. They weren't breaking anything, just running, laughing, being kids. But Patricia's eyes locked on Ethan. "Get away from that tree this instant," she bellowed. Ethan froze, confused. At 8, he didn't know what he'd done to earn her wrath. The other kids stepped back, sensing trouble. "You're ruining the mulch," Patricia shrieked. "That landscaping cost the HOA $15,000, and you little pests are destroying it." The mulch looked fine to Memabe, a few scattered bits from small feet, but nothing broken, nothing ruined. "Ma'am, they're just playing," said Karen Thompson, a mother whose son was in Ethan's game. "They're not hurting anything." Patricia whirled on her. "Don't tell me what they're doing. I see it with my own eyes. These brats are wrecking our investment." I stood, my instincts prickling. I'd seen enough volatile people in court to know Patricia was teetering on the edge. "Ethan, come here," I called, keeping my voice steady. But Patricia was already closing in on him, her face flushed with rage. "You," she spat, pointing at Ethan. "You don't even live here. You have no right to touch our property." Ethan shrank back, his voice small. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to do anything wrong." "Don't lie to me," Patricia screamed, stepping closer. "I saw you kicking the tree roots, throwing mulch everywhere." "I wasn't throwing mulch," Ethan said, his voice trembling. "We were just playing chase." "Are you calling me a liar?" Patricia's hands clenched into fists, her neck veins bulging. I moved toward them, my heart pounding. "Mrs. Coleman, step away from my grandson," I said firmly. She spun to face me, eyes blazing. "Your grandson?" So you're the one letting this little delinquent run wild. Ethan is 8 and was playing with the other kids, I said, keeping my tone calm but hard. There's no need for this. No need, she laughed, a bitter, jagged sound. That mulch bed is a $15,000 investment. Your grandson and his little gang are destroying it. I glanced at the mulch. It was pristine, barely disturbed. Patricia was inventing a crisis. Ma'am, I see no damage, I said. The kids were just playing. Let's all take a breath. Don't patronize me, she snapped. I've spent 20 years protecting this neighborhood's standards, and I won't let some outsider's brat ruin it. The other parents formed a loose circle around the kids, their faces tense. Patricia's rage was unhinged, disproportionate. Mrs. Coleman, maybe we should all calm down, said Tom and Gwen, whose daughter was Ethan's age. The bus is almost here. Calm down. Patricia shrieked. I'll calm down when these kids learn to respect property. Ethan's eyes welled with tears. Grandpa, I wasn't trying to hurt anything, he whispered. I know, Ethan, I said softly. You did nothing wrong. But Patricia wasn't done. Nothing wrong, she screamed, gesturing wildly at the untouched mulch. Look at this mess. Your precious grandson did this. Mrs. Coleman, you're scaring the children, I said, my voice sharp now. You need to leave. I'll leave when I'm good and ready, she snarled. This is my neighborhood. Then she turned back to Ethan, her face a mask of fury. You think you can waltz in here and destroy what I've built? Please don't yell at me, Ethan whispered, backing away. I'm sorry if I did something wrong. Sorry isn't enough, Patricia roared. Then, in a flash of rage, she grabbed Ethan's shoulders, shook him hard, and swung her fist. The sickening crack of her knuckles hitting his jaw echoed in my ears. Ethan collapsed, blood pouring from his mouth. The other kids screamed. Parents gasped. I rushed forward, my blood boiling. Ethan, I dropped to my knees beside him. His jaw was grotesquely misaligned, swelling fast, blood pooling where his teeth had cut his lip. Grandpa, it hurts, he whimpered, barely able to speak. You're going to be okay, I said, dialing 911. Help's coming. Patricia stood over him, chest heaving, fists still clenched. For a moment, she seemed stunned, but then her defiance returned. He was destroying our property, she shouted at the horrified parents. Someone had to teach him a lesson. You punched a child, Karen Thompson yelled. You broke his jaw. He needed discipline. Patricia shot back. I've spent 20 years protecting this community. Tom Nguyen was already on the phone with the police. We need officers at the Cedar Lane bus stop now, he said. A woman assaulted a child. He needs an ambulance, his jaw's broken. I cradled Ethan, trying to keep him calm as his face swelled. Why did she hit me, Grandpa? He whispered through the pain. You did nothing wrong, I said, my voice shaking. This wasn't your fault. The ambulance arrived in minutes, followed by police cars. EMTs stabilized Ethan's jaw and loaded him onto a stretcher. Patricia ranted as officers approached her. I'm Patricia Coleman, president of the Willow Creek HOA, she declared. I was protecting our landscaping from vandalism. Ma'am, you punched an 8-year-old, Officer Daniels said. You're under arrest for assault and battery of a minor. This is absurd. Patricia protested as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. I was doing my job. Your job doesn't include attacking children, Daniels replied, leading her to the patrol car. I rode with Ethan to Raleigh Children's Hospital, my mind racing with fury and fear. In the ambulance, Ethan clutched my hand. Am I going to be okay, Grandpa? You're going to be fine, I promised, though my heart ached at his pain. At the hospital, Dr. Emily Harper, an oral surgeon, confirmed the fracture was severe but fixable. He'll need his jaw wired shut for 6 weeks, she said. Kids heal fast, though. He should recover fully. I called Ethan's parents, Lisa and Mark, in Florence. Breaking the news was agony. Someone broke his jaw. Lisa sobbed. Who would hurt Ethan? An HOA woman lost her temper over nothing, I said. We're coming home now, Mark said. Cancel the trip. While Ethan underwent surgery, I sat in the waiting room, replaying the morning. Patricia had assaulted my grandson in front of a federal judge, thinking her HOA title gave her authority. She was about to face a reckoning. Ethan emerged from surgery with his jaw wired shut, groggy but alert. Hey, tough guy, I said, squeezing his hand. He nodded weakly, unable to speak. Over the next days, I learned about Patricia's reign of terror in Willow Creek. She'd ruled the HOA for 20 years, fining families for trivial infractions, kids playing too loudly, unapproved patio furniture, even holiday decorations she deemed tacky. The Thompsons had been fined for their dog barking. The Nguyen's faced threats for a slightly weathered fence. She's a dictator, Karen Thompson told me. Everyone's scared of her. Patricia's mistake was attacking Ethan in front of me. Within 24 hours, she faced charges of assault, battery, child abuse, and reckless endangerment. Bail was set at $150,000, which she scraped together using her home as collateral. But I wasn't done. I hired a top civil rights attorney to sue Patricia and the HOA, alleging a pattern of harassment and abuse of power. The investigation uncovered a cesspool of corruption. Patricia had issued over 3,000 citations, amassing $600,000 in fines, most for minor or non-existent violations. She'd targeted minority families at 4 times the rate of others, harassed single parents, and intimidated elderly residents with legal threats. Worse, she'd embezzled HOA funds, siphoning $200,000 for personal expenses. The $15,000 mulch project? It cost $5,000. She pocketed the rest. Most shocking was her secret surveillance hidden cameras around Willow Creek, recording private moments to blackmail residents. The story exploded. HOA tyrant breaks child's jaw over mulch hit national news. Patricia's attempts to justify herself in interviews only fueled the fire. I was protecting our community's standards, she told a local station. That boy was damaging property. When pressed on punching a child, she snapped. Kids today need discipline. I barely touched him. The clip went viral, her lack of remorse sparking outrage. Ethan's recovery was slow. Physically, his jaw healed well, but the emotional toll lingered. Nightmares plagued him, and he grew wary of strangers. Therapy helped, but the carefree boy I knew was quieter now. "Why did she hate me, Grandpa?" he asked one night, sipping a smoothie through a straw. "She didn't hate you," I said. "She's angry at the world and took it out on you. That's her failure, not yours." The criminal trial came 6 months later. Patricia's defense claimed it was a momentary lapse by a dedicated community leader, but security footage showed her grabbing Ethan and striking him, then standing over him without remorse. Her testimony was damning. "I had to protect our investment," she insisted. Sometimes kids need to learn the hard way. The jury took 90 minutes to convict her on all counts. She got 3 years in state prison and $300,000 in restitution for Ethan's medical bills and trauma. The federal lawsuit was even more devastating. Families testified about Patricia's harassment threats to seize homes, fines for imagined violations, spying on private lives. The FBI charged her with wire fraud, conspiracy, and privacy violations. She was found guilty, sentenced to 9 more years in federal prison, and ordered to pay $2.5 million to her victims. Her house was seized, her accounts drained, her reputation obliterated. The HOA was dissolved, replaced by a transparent board that refunded years of unfair fines. Patricia became a national pariah, her story a cautionary tale of power run amok. Documentaries and articles dissected her tyranny, and she received floods of hate mail. Her appeals failed, leaving her to rot in a cell, a broken woman with nothing left. Ethan, now 10, bounced back. His jaw healed perfectly, and with therapy, his spark returned. He's back to playing baseball and making friends, unafraid of the bus stop where kids now play freely. On the day of Patricia's federal sentencing, Ethan sat in court, watching her led away in handcuffs. "Will she hurt anyone else, Grandpa?" he asked as we left. "No," I said. "She's lost everything, and she'll never touch another child." Justice was served swift, unyielding, and final. Patricia Coleman thought her HOA crown made her invincible. She learned the hard way that no one is above the law, especially not when they harm a child under a federal judge's gaze. Her moment of rage cost her freedom, fortune, and future. For Ethan, it was a painful lesson in human cruelty, but also in resilience and justice. What do you think about this story? Have you ever faced injustice or violence in your community? Share your thoughts in the comments. Should people like Patricia face harsher consequences, or is redemption possible? Let's hear your perspective on how we balance justice and fairness in cases like this.